I have this controller in my possession for quite a long time now, and I never did a review. Simply because I'm just being honest, I realize that I am not like the pro gamer. I don't play like latest games because I'm like a retro gamer for life. However, I was really intrigued by actually like this controller, because where this is actually more like a semi-pro replacement controller, because this thing has some pretty serious overall features. The general problem nowadays we're having is a lot of controllers having stick drift. Yeah, you thought like maybe this is something that happened in the past, but no, it still happens. And Gulikit is actually one of those companies making those kits for replacing your original joysticks. And Gulikit, I think they thought like, hey, why we're not making a full controller? And that is what they actually did. And this thing is absolutely sick. This is like the pro controller that is just not having all of the issues, and we can use it on multiple different systems. So PC, we have like different kind of platforms, also let's say the Switch. I do think that's pretty cool. However, Gulikit is let's say a very nice company. It has a wide range of products. You check it out if you want to replace joysticks. Maybe this is the company that have like the ultimate solution for you. However, I just wanted to focus, what can you do? What is this thing all about? And is this going to be something I'm going to be using daily? Well, you have all of these fancy specs, but how about how comfortable it is and what you're getting? So first of all, I'm a big fan of the Xbox controllers, the 360, but also when it comes to, let's say, the controllers of the newer generation. So this kit is just absolutely the next level when it comes to just say comfortability, but also the way how it looks. So it's quite near when it comes to the original quality, and I think that is one of the things that I do find really appealing to this controller. However, is it something you should actually consider? Because you do need to pay price, let's say quite heavy price tag for these devices. But I think one of the very cool things and features you can already see on top over here, that we're having different platforms that we can just use for Android, Windows, and even for the Switch. So I think that is one of the more appealing things to this controller, that we do have like multiple, let's say, platforms. So you're going to be buying one particular controller for using for a PC, and Switch you don't need to buy multiple controllers, because if you're going to be buying a pro controller with good specifications, yeah, you're going to be having the same situation with prices and you have multiple controllers. However, if you want to have no input lag whatsoever, there is also a dongle with it for the extreme, say, communication. And I think that is going to be one of the more appealing things. If you want to have like, when I say the best of the best, when you want to have like a very good communication with the controller, yeah, this is going to be one of those choices you can actually make. So in here we're finding even some extra cool peripherals. For example, having here all kinds of cool things you can switch out. So that is absolutely one of the cool things you can do with this controller. Of course, we can pull these things out and you can assemble them underneath. And in this way you can have like a pro controller. You have the same situation with the back, let's say, triggers. I think one of the very cool features are the back buttons that you normally only see on modified controllers or very expensive pro controllers. I don't really use them, I'm just going to be honest with that, but you can just remove them if you want to. But also if you're going to be playing, I can understand that people really love it, because you can fairly easy reach into, let's say, your buttons if you want to. But then again, I think it's one of those many cool features you're going to be having with the controllers. So another feature that is quite interesting when you're going to be looking into the trigger buttons, you can see we do have two different triggers at this moment, so you can actually tweak each of them. So by sliding this thing at the side with like the full effect or the full travel, and if you don't want that, like you want to have like a quick release, you can actually do that fairly easy by switching over here. There's many of these very cool tweaks things that I've never seen before. And if you're going to be booting up the device, you can see beautiful lighting, but also you can just actually feel the rumble motors, and you can feel that it's going to be in premium rumble. But how about the D-pad? Because you know, I am a D-pad gamer. But in the end, there are all kinds of different customization options, and you can even switch out all kinds of back buttons, adjust the triggers, and it's quite interesting when it comes to, let's say, all the cool things you can do. Where this thing isn't cheap, that's one thing to be sure, because it's like a semi-controller with all kinds of cool features, and not to forget the special joysticks. But if you're going to be looking at, let's say, the internal hardware-software combination, this thing is absolutely crazy of how many different things you can do with it. So already you can see that this thing has some beautiful lighting, and which you can actually also change out. So in the middle we're going to be finding this tiny gear wheel, and if we're going to combine this with different, let's say, combinations, we can adjust the freaking lighting option. We can turn it off if you want to, but we also have other different cool options. But in the inside, we're finding so many very cool, let's say, different things you can just adjust. For to begin with, we can press this button over here and we can just actually mess around with all kind of different configuration, adjusting the light, set the forward direction of the direction for the D-pad, adjusting the joystick sensitivity, clear all the settings, or just set the motion aiming. This thing is packed with all kinds of cool things, and in the manual that explains what you can do and how you need to set it up. For the first part, let's do a little bit of a connection through the Bluetooth, not using the dongle at all. Hold it for a couple of seconds, getting into the Bluetooth mode. I must say that I did struggle, maybe it's me that just struggles with these freaking things. It has been set to Windows, so that's the first thing. I'm just going to be charging it, but let's hold it for a couple of seconds. That is going to be starting into the Bluetooth mode. There we go, start searching. Great, that says like the Gulikit controller. And now it needs to be connected, everything. Also the light is turning on. So now we can actually play some games through the Bluetooth connection. And of course we have like this crazy Pro controller. And what do we play? Old school games. Oh yeah. Okay, so one of the things I'm really curious about, let's see how I can now find the joysticks play. So the D-pad. Okay, that's interesting. So it has been indeed set to 4 directions. Huh. Was it not like this option we can actually mess around with it? Yeah. It's interesting that you can put it on 4 and 8 way. That's going to be interesting if you want to be playing some Pac-Man maybe. So and I think that is one of the coolest things that you can actually mess around with this. But let's look into some other stuff. Let's see how they're actually going to be playing. I'm really curious now. So let's change out the function of the D-pad. I think it doesn't going to be making a big of a difference, but it's kind of cool that you can switch out the D-pad input. Old school, man. Let's play something completely random with the controller. Let's go into the Terminator Salvation mode. I can tell you this is like not the way I actually want to experience these freaking games. Oh, there we go, we got shotgun. Oh yeah. So we have this quick micro switch version enabled. Let's go with the analog over there. No, I really like that. You know that you can have these micro switch enabled. It's kind of cool. But I can tell you, playing these games with the controller, I really hated it back in the day, and I still hate it now. But let's move into something serious with some Street Fighter, because I just wanted to see how this control will play for fighting games, because this is actually what I play most of the time. So the D-pad, I must say that that's like an interesting feel to it. Quite long travel, but has like a satisfying click. Okay, so let's see how we can actually play Street Fighter. How responsive is it? Okay, my mistake. I forgot to enable the 8-way. The deal itself, when it comes to the, let's say, the D-pad with the gaming, I must say it's super responsive. But it's not going to be my favorite D-pad. Yeah, I must say for such an, let's say, interesting, let's say, expensive controller, the D-pad is not bad at all. But it's not my favorite one. So let's play a little bit of racing games, and this is going to be absolutely a lot of fun. You can check out how sensitive the joysticks are. So this time I actually made the decision to go for the short travel analog triggers, or micro switch actually. Let's switch it back. and we can switch between them. You can put each of the triggers in a certain mode. It's absolutely awesome. I really enjoy myself with racing with this controller. But the unfortunate, there is no rumble function due of the age and also the programmer running on this. But besides that, overall gameplay is just great. If you're going to be looking into a controller like this, part of the video I was not even using its full potential. This is like one of those pro semi controllers that can do all kinds of cool stuff. I'm flabbergasted when it comes to, let's say, the stuff you can actually do with it from, let's say, in perspective of software hardware that is actually built inside of this. So I'm not going to be using the triggers itself a lot at this point, but if you're going to be reconfiguring this for shooting games, you can do a lot of cool things. It's multi-platform, so you can use it for different kind of systems, only having one controller for actually play them all. However, when it comes to compatibility, you can actually see over here we have a Windows, Switch, Android, and you name it. So where we're having some limitation, maybe left or right, this thing can be used for many different systems. But is it really justifying the price? That is something only you can decide. Thank you all for watching, and it will be great to see you in the next video.